Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I am Everardo Resendiz, known around here as Coach Ever. I am a certified executive and business coach with Action Coach in Northwest Louisiana. Today, I have Guy Ellison with Ultra Energy USA as my guest. Today, we're going to be talking about the business, the journey that this business has taken Guy through, challenges, best practices, and share a little bit of a peek into what it's really like to build and operate a business. If this is your first time on the channel, please be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you get a warning whenever we drop new conversations just like this one. And so, Guy, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. I think you go by Ever for short,
Ever,
right?
that's right.
Ever ready. You look like you're the ever ready guy, man. I like that.
Very good. Well, would you share with us a little bit of the background, your background, and a little bit about the business that you're operating over there?
Yes, of course. I've been hunting oil along the Gulf Coast of Louisiana and Texas and Alabama and Mississippi for nearly 50 years. I think 49 years in January next month. I discovered a new field in Alabama in the early 90s, very exciting. I was also involved in the 90s in getting the first Austin chalk horizontal well drilled in the state of Louisiana, which set off a whole new trend. We put together 100,000 acres. I had people like Tex Moncrief and Bucky Wharton. I had Helmrich and Payne, the big drilling company, was in the deal. Today, I've got Ultra Energy USA. We're on a capital campaign right now, Everardo, to raise capital to drill our starter kit, as I call it. 5 low risk prospects, all niche focused. We're right here in Louisiana. My oldest guy is 93. My youngest guy is 73. Okay.
Okay.
We've all worked for major oil companies and independents alike. And what we do is we develop prospects. That's what we do. And we market them.
Yeah, you can see a lot of that development happening around here.
Oh, yeah, around you? Oh, yeah, it's got to be phenomenal. It was back like that in the 80s when that gas was deregulated below 15,000. A lot of big, deep fields were found here along the Tuscaloosa Trend.
Tell us a little bit about the ownership structure that you have. Are you a sole owner? Do you have any partners, investors? What is it like?
Well, I'm a second generation oil man. I was very fortunate. My father was a geologist. As I told you, we lived in Shreveport, moved around a lot, lived in East Texas field. I can remember bagging samples on rigs with him as a 6-year-old, things like that. So I've grown up in it. I went on my own in 1980. I never really gave it a lot of thought because my father, after we moved to Lafayette, he was district geologist for Sun Oil. But after several years, he found out he wanted to work for himself. So he quit and went independent. So I was always weaned on that independent, mindset. And that's what I followed. And it's been exciting. I've always worked for myself. I've been very, very, very fortunate. I've surrounded myself with great talent. The guys that we have are oil finders. We've got about a 68% economic success rate, which is very, very good. So the hardest part, as anybody will tell you as a manager or owner in anything, is keeping people motivated.
That's right.
Yeah, that's big. But you got to solve the problem. When you have problems in the office, you can't get a lease, or you've got a drilling issue or something like that. You've got to be able to stand in there and come up with a solution that works, that's prudent, and that's economic. And we've been very fortunate with our group. We've hired outside consultants, professional engineers, petroleum engineers, land people, title analysts, those sorts of things. So we outsource a lot of it, but we've surrounded ourselves in that outsourcing with excellent staff. And you can go on the website and see who our consultants are. Some of these people have been worldwide drilling and completing wells.
Very cool. And so what's your current role in the business? What do you do?
My current role is sales. Okay. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, or maybe I'm just the chief bottle washer. I don't know. But I've got to go out and show the prospects, raise the capital. And it's a whole new environment. I have been using, I have a LinkedIn site where I advertise. I've put up 3 blogs on our website, www.ultraenergyusa.com. And I have quite a bit of material in there. In fact, you can go into that website, and when you're trying to leave, it's got a pop-up, fill out name and address, and you actually will contact you. But you can actually look at one of the prospects. In fact, the one I mentioned earlier in Generette, the little shallow oil deal. I have all the maps in there. So if somebody wants to vet it, take a look, they can call their consultant or somebody that they know that knows about geology. And there's the prospect right before you. And that's a little turnkey. It's I think completed well cost on that's 1.58 million. And it's probably a 30-month payout. But these things are long life. People don't realize how long life these properties are. Now, at some point in time, with the market conditions right, we may actually sell the assets. The incoming partner can keep his assets, or we can ride the price increase, because we're going to see a tremendous price increase, especially with the advent of AI. I think I told you this the other day. I call it EJ, the electrical juggernaut. They're expecting EI to consume vast amounts of electricity. Natural gas produces or generates most of the electricity in this country. You're going to see an uptake there. LNG, Europe, the EU, they need the LNG. They got cut off from Russia. They had a real tough time last year, paid through the nose. With the new administration, the permitting process for these trains, they call them LNG facilities, will be shortened. You'll see more of them. You'll see America. We are number 1 in exporting LNG today. You'll see us just eclipse Qatar, Australia, the other big players in the industry.
Wow. Well, it seems like the future is bright. And so let's move over onto what makes your business so special. Like, the kind of industry you're in. You have the big players in the field, and then you have the independents, right? And so, who do you normally serve? Who's your customer? If I was in the audience, how will I know if I was a good fit for you or to invest in your business?
Okay. The people that we are looking for are high net worth individuals that have a tax problem at the end of the year, because the federal government, the IRS, provides some fantastic tax benefits, intangible drilling costs, which is about 75% of the cost to drill the well. So that little well I just told you about, let's say it costs $1 million for the dry hole cost. That's so you get a log on the bank and you can see if you're going to set pipe and complete the well. 75%, $750,000 can be written off the first year bottom line of your income tax. That's called intangible drilling costs. Income, let's say you're making $100,000 a month, income from oil revenue, 15% is tax-free. So you only pay tax on 85%. We're also looking for institutions along with individuals that may be interested in our program. But we want to grow the program. If you look at our business plan, we have about 20 prospects that we've developed over the last decade, okay? They're all sophisticated, well thought out, prolific producing areas, infrastructure is in place. They have 3-dimensional seismic to support them, okay? So as we grow the business, the people that come in now in this opportunity will be able to go to the next phase and the next phase and the next phase. And our idea is either to hold and keep or sell, depending on market conditions. So that's who we're looking for. Now, you could have a group of guys. Let's say you got a group of girls or a group of guys, like a bridge club or something, and you decide, I'm going to write a $20,000 tax check at the end of the day. Right? Hey, why don't we get into some oil deals that are safe, relatively?
Right.
I mean, business, but the ones that we have are generally safe. And we can get the intangible drilling cost and knock our tax bill down to maybe 12, 15,000 instead of 20. We got an extra 5 to 7 grand, to go on vacation, do whatever we want with. So you could have 4 or 5 people cobble together a little LLC, like a little club, an investing club for oil and gas investing. Because the minimum investment is $100,000, which for a lot of people, that's a lot of money.
Right.
Me too, that's a lot of money. But you don't want to get into a situation where you've got 200 or 300 investors that you have to answer to. It makes it heavy, weighty, cumbersome. We want to remain agile. We want people that understand business.
You and I remember we're talking about the fact that there's still a good runway for the oil and gas industry to continue operating for many, many years to come, given that we are so dependent not only on the fuel side, but also on the chemical side, and how much of what we use nowadays is derived from the production of oil and gas.
Right, correct. In fact, one of the blogs I have, it's called Spandex, the mother of Spanx. Spandex is a petroleum product that expands 5 times its length and contracts. Well, Spanx are made from spandex. Without spandex, without petroleum, without oil and gas, there's no Spanx. There's just hundreds of thousands of products, that use petroleum. Fertilizer. It takes a barrel of oil, okay, to plant and fertilize and harvest an acre of corn.
Wow.
Yeah. So put that in your lexicon and think about that. So
yeah,
it's here to stay.
That's right. That's right. I mean, and in the advent of electric vehicles and renewable energies, we're still far away from that being even considered a replacement of sorts. I think there will be a complement for a very long time. So
Right.
let me ask you about competition in your field. As independents, you are doing things that other people are doing. So why should people come to you and work with you as opposed to some of your competitors? What makes you unique?
Right. We can say we're the best. There's always somebody
You
better.
can always.
There's always somebody better, right? And they can boast the same thing. But what you're seeing right now with the dearth of drilling is the opportunity where you're making more favorable lease terms, better royalties, better bonus costs, those sorts of things. The field I told you about, Generette, we got 3,000 or 4,000 acres under lease. I got it on an option to begin with. I got the landowner to give me a portion of the 3D that was shot over their land, and then I parlayed that into 4 wells. So what you're looking at is opportunity, and the competition is very, very low here in South Louisiana. Other places, not, the resource plays not so much.
So there's an offer advantage right here. There's not that much demand in South Louisiana.
There is a lot of advantages for being here now. Major fields are being abandoned. They're just ripe to drill, armed with capital, access to ready capital. I was saying that what you're seeing here in South Louisiana, since there's not a lot of drilling, you're seeing a tremendous amount of opportunity, okay? Major fields are being abandoned. When we got into Generette, I've got the landowner to give me what 3-dimensional seismic they had. I took that and parlayed that little bit of seismic in a lease that I got on an option from them into 4 wells. We spent nearly $60 million drilling over there, and all of that's been paid out. All of that money has come back into the fold. We were actually working for a large independent in Houston when we did that. And they went offshore. We stayed onshore. We continued to develop and work that field. And that's how come we have more prospects to drill in there.
Okay. So what is one thing that you wish more people knew about your business?
I'm an educator at heart. I'd like to see programs, and the IPAA has one where they actually go into the school systems and teach people about energy and how it is found, how oil and gas is found, how it's produced. Most people can't tell you where gasoline comes from. Most people think there's a pool under the earth that the oil's in. Well, it's in the little interstices, microscopic pathways in this rock. And the reason it comes to the surface is the differential in pressure, atmospheric pressure, 10,000 pounds, boom. Nobody knows that. They don't think about that in their day-to-day lives. I think the other thing is that we're not bad guys. Everybody wants to draw a line. Either you're environmentally green or you're fossil fuel black. But that's not the case. We want to be part of the energy transition to help out with global warming. That's very important to the oil industry. It's now here's another thing. ExxonMobil just merged with Sheffield's company over there in the Permian, $70 billion deal. Hess just bought one of the big companies over there. These guys know something. They know that oil is going to be, and gas are going to be keys to the future. You're going to have a lot of it. If you're a developed nation and or a developing nation, you need a lot of energy. I mean, probably at least a third of the people on the planet don't even have electricity, I would venture to say, just off the top of my head, more.
So we need these resources to not only be found, but they also need to be produced and distributed. All of these is part of that picture. Okay, well, this leads me to the marketing side. Of course, there's fuel that your business needs to move and to continue operating and creating new opportunities. And so you mentioned that you do LinkedIn and you do blogging, you have a website. All these things cost money. Like any other business, you have outlets to let your message go out and capture people to participate or to contribute in your business. How do you plan for that? How do you decide what to do, where to go, how to approach your potential leads?
Well, what has happened to me, being forced into the information age, the computers and everything, marketing is completely different. When I moved to Lafayette, I sold oil deals in the oil center. Shell was here, Amoco was here, Chevron was here, a bunch of independents. They would buy your deal. You'd have your logs and your maps, and you'd walk around and tell them what you wanted for your deal. They'd buy your deal and they'd drill it. Those days are gone. Okay. So you have to be creative. And that's one of the reasons I came up with advertising on the internet, doing the website and that sort of thing. But let me tell you what, it's very difficult to get noticed and to have people look at your site and call you. It's very, very hard. It takes a lot of capital to really get noticed. LinkedIn is a great spot, don't get me wrong, but I don't get calls. Nobody's typing in. I just started a campaign about 2 months ago, and I've generated about 350 or 400 followers. But as far as turning that into dollars, that has not happened.
Right.
It's not happened. Some of the things I'm looking at, I need to go to the accountants, the guys that handle the money for the guys that have and girls that have a lot of money, and to help them with their tax bills. You need to get in that arena. Okay. And we're not very big. Let's face it. We've probably got $120 million worth of drilling to do, but that's not big when you're talking about drilling oil and gas wells. So we've got to find those people that have a unique situation where they want to get a 2.5 expected return on the investment, get the intangible drilling costs, get the depletion allowance, have the chance at getting their money back within 30 to 36 months, and longevity. You can create wealth with oil and gas. So people that want to create generational wealth, that have money, that want to invest and augment their portfolio, if you will. Hey, I'm in real estate, I've got this and that, but I'd like to do this because real estate's passive income. That's taxed. You can offset that passive income with drilling oil and gas. So there's a lot of benefits that people don't know about. And that's what I think is my gift, and what I need to do more of is inform the people. They can come in. Right now, if somebody comes in on the starter kit program, we have devised a situation for the incomer whereby that half of the geological fee, which is substantial, that's all the overhead and the geophysics and everything involved, you only pay half that fee. If the well is not a producer, you don't pay the other half. If it is, then you pay the balance of the fee. So there's a lot of breaks we're trying to do and give people the opportunity to come in, have a lot of fun. It's exciting. You can go to cocktail parties and talk about your wells. That's the green and black issue, though. You got to worry about that. But let me tell you what, an offshore windmill, Everardo, takes anywhere from 17,000 to 26,000 pounds of strip mine copper. Strip mine. We've got to go denude the earth for one windmill, and we've got to mine that copper. We've got to leach it. We got to run it through a whole menagerie of processes to get it to turn into wire that we wrap that engine
turbine with.
That turbine with. The blades from these windmills are being buried in Colorado. They're not biodegradable, or they're being stacked in Midland. So it's kind of not as green. It's in simply between black and green, more of a brown or a dark tan. I'm telling you, if you look
there's always the byproduct of whatever initiative is being pursued. So I mean, it's very interesting how it plays out. But
you've taken free market out of the process. Okay, there's global warming may be happening, but it's happened before with no dire consequences. If you go back and really study the experts, because there's books out right now. There's some new books out about the future of oil and what's happening with this environmental push. You got to be real careful. You can spin yourself into the poorhouse. It's expected net zero by 2050 will cost you $256 trillion. That'll break the world. I mean, you do it. You got to use your head. And without the subsidies, EU's ramping up to get more green. But let me tell you what, at the end of the day, when you watch those guys, they're going to be taking our LNG and coal and heating their households and running their factories. In fact, Volkswagen's shut down a couple of their factories because of that access.
I remember.
Yeah. So there's a lot. It's very complex.
These are macro impacts, and they really have a global scale. So
people don't think about that. That's what I mean. That's the educational part. Hey, let's look at the whole picture without the subsidies. And this is so great and it's going to happen. Well, it's not going to happen in my lifetime. I doubt if it'll happen in your lifetime. Coming green, electrical, everything. It's a tough pill to swallow, man.
Oh, there will be advances in technology, like you mentioned, AI and all the advent of all these things that will push major changes and major developments in how we obtain, harness, and distribute and use the energy that we produce, right?
That's
Um,
correct.
so you are in a not in a controversial industry. You are in an industry that is at the center of everything we do.
That's exactly right. And don't forget about the Spanx.
Don't forget about the Spanx. That's right. All
That
right.
says it,
Well,
that says it in a nutshell.
so let me take a little bit of a side road here. Talk a little bit about, you of course you've operated this business for 50 years. You mentioned, right? You've been in
Right.
it for 50 years. Um, are you where you wanted to be? Do you set goals, and what do they look like when you do? What's the process that you go to decide this is where we're going next?
Surround yourself with good people. Show up every day. Work hard. Do your best. Uh, Maintain integrity. Those are my goals. And just deal with people even-handedly, you know, and try to help. I think the biggest thing is helping people give back what I've received. I want to give back, especially getting older. You want to give back. So that's where I am right now. Those are my goals. My goal is short-term goal, business-wise, economic, raise to 16 million. If you take that to a long-term goal, have a fund that's created where you're drilling, you're participating. Don't own 100%, but you're participating in 40, 50 wells a year. And your investor base is coming along with you, and they're able to make money, create that generational wealth, maintain a high standard of living, and help with the energy transition into renewables. So those are
Outstanding.
my goals. Yeah, thank you.
Outstanding. Okay, so when you think in the future, and you did allude to this question before, you have a pool of um, good, knowledgeable people that are up in age, right? And
Yes.
so, how do you see the new generations coming in and participating in it with you in your business so that you can continue doing these for
Yeah.
years to come?
Ever, when you have guys my age, they're not going to be around much longer. And these guys coming up need mentors. Who's going to mentor them? You're going to have a whole generational gap with no mentors. And I'm not talking just on the upstream end of it. I'm not talking
Right.
about just for the mapping and everything. You've got completions. You've got how do you run pipe? What kind of cement do you use? How do you set a production facility? What are all the things that go into it? Besides, beyond, you got midstream and then you got downstream. So we're going to lose a lot of people, and we're going to turn around and say, "Hey, AI, we need another 10,000 terabytes. Where are we going to get it?" Well, we don't have anybody drawing any maps or looking for it. Yeah, we got this AI that can tell us some things, but you still got to have this out working for you. You still got to have land people putting the acreage together, because in this country, you own your mineral. You still have to have title opinions. You still have to have people making steel, people making plastics to produce your product.
Let me ask you these, guy. But I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, um, you know, take it 10 years down the road, right? Are you bringing in new people are you preparing a new generation of people to come in? And if not, um, how do you see your business moving into the future?
Well, with the growth that we're expecting, we can bring in new people. We can interface with, I've still got a lot of contacts in Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, New Orleans, places like that, Shreveport, where you can actually go to companies and say, "Hey, look," in fact, we mentored a young man He works in Oklahoma, and he was from here. We mentored him, and he's doing quite well. He's experiencing rave success. They're drilling horizontal wells and conventional wells in Oklahoma. His name is Charles Vice, and VICE, quite a guy. You know, young geologist out of UL, right here in town, University of Louisiana at Lafayette. And we mentored him, and he's got a fantastic job. He's probably knocking down a couple of hundred G's a year. Nice. You know, he started at 80. Hey, come work for us. We'll start you off at 80,000. So there's a lot of opportunity for people that want to work.
But you got to bring them in, and you got to prepare them and transfer all these knowledge that you guys have. Well, we have certainly covered a lot of ground in this conversation today. And for those who are watching, I highly encourage you to save these and come back a few times for an additional watch. There's a lot of great nuggets here. And more so if you're interested in this industry. This is very interesting. I have had a very, very, let's call it surface level approach to these. But I think that there's a lot of depth in here. Pardon the pun.
Yeah, oh yeah, a lot of depth. Yeah. Keep turning to the right.
And you know, it really needs more interest from many businesses, many people, many investors to keep it going and to lead us into the future. And so as we begin to wrap up, I have a few rapid fire questions for you, Guy. Quick top of head answers for each. Okay, you ready?
Ready, go.
What is the key to success for you?
Surrounding yourself with good people.
What is your one piece of advice for other business owners? It can't be the same one.
Don't lose heart. You're going to go through ups and downs and trials, but each one of those is a stepping stone. Continue your path. You know, it'll pay off.
Stick to it, right?
Exactly.
Okay. What is one book that you have read or you're reading that you will recommend other people get a hold of?
I'm reading this one for the third time right now. Think Like a Champion by Donald J. Trump. It's great.
Love it. So if you had to choose only one area of your business that you could immediately improve tomorrow, what would that be?
Efficiencies in communication. It's very important to be a good listener and then give feedback. This is what I heard you say. Make sure you do that.
A lot of assumptions get in the way, don't they?
Well, you're dealing with humans. You're dealing with personalities from various fields and upbringing, and it's communication is always tough. You know, it's like when you're sitting around the table at Thanksgiving and somebody whispers something and said, we're going to pass it around. By the time it gets back to you, it's nothing like the original.
I agree. All right. So before we get into the final question of the day, I know you mentioned your website. I would like for you to do it again. How can they get in touch with you? Call you, text you, email you? What would you like?
Right. Well, the website, www.ultraenergyusa.com. It's got a plethora of information. It's got our philosophy in there. It talks about our people, talks about the consultants we use, talks about our mission, talks about our goals, okay? There's a prospect in there you can take a look at, okay? My phone number is there. You can call me direct. Call Guy Ellison direct, 337-278-9204. I love to talk oil, energy. I'll talk to you and I'll try to answer all your questions. I want people to be happy to be involved in the energy business. I'd be happy too if they chose Ultra, you know. But the biggest thing is educating and creating friendships, quite frankly.
Love it. Thank you, Guy, for that. And so, final question. What do you find is most inspiring for you today?
Gratitude. I think every man and woman has to be so much to be grateful for in this life. The gifts that we've been given, our families, our friends, you know, God showers us every day. We just got to be receptive to that And the best way for me, I do a little meditating every morning, and I start off with the gratitude, writing down 2 or 3 things that I'm grateful for today. And I think that's, for me, that's the most important thing.
Well, Guy, I am grateful for you for your abundance and in sharing with us all your experience and your willingness to come in and listen and educate people in these areas that are critical for our future that we are just simply not involved in the majority of cases. We just don't think about them. So thank you for that. Thank you for joining us here today and sharing all these. Thank you to the audience for watching and sharing. You never
Oh,
know
yeah.
who you might be inspired by. You might inspire by listening to this interview. So make sure you pass it around. Make it a great day. Thank you, guys.
Yes. Thank you.
Till next
Thank you,
time.
Eduardo. Appreciate you, man.